situation, and we'll discuss Iran war situation, unverified reports from social media, and purely analyzing them from a documentary and educational point of view. We'll tell you about strongly following the YouTube community guidelines, and we'll tell you about the important news which Senator Mark Kelly has said, and which has caused an uproar in the Senate, and due to which Pete Hegseth is demanding and asking for investigations and inquiry into the matter. And also there is more important news to share with you regarding the Lebanon front, and also the dual blockade, the naval blockade of Iran by US, and whether it is successful or not. And also some of the ships sneaked past through the blockade, Iranian ships, and there is the blockade of the Strait of al-Mandab as well, and how much missiles are left with each of the country, and we'll tell you about that as well. This is the breaking news which was on the day of the war, and that US official American fighter jet down in Iran search and rescue operation is underway. That was F-15E. When the starting of the war, the day when the war started in Qatar, 2 to 3 F-15E were downed, and one possible in Iran was shot down, F-15E. This is the map now of the Strait of the Hormuz, and which basically Iran has strengthened control over the Strait of Hormuz, and this is the, you can see the map of the Strait of Hormuz, and the Islamic Republic of Iran has defined the regulatory jurisdiction for the management of Hormuz Strait as follows: the line connecting Koh Mubarak in Iran to the south of Fujairah in the UAE at the eastern entrance of the strait, to the line connecting the tip of Kashim Island in Iran to Quwain in the UAE at the western entrance. Transit through the area of the purpose passing through the Hormuz Strait requires coordination with and authorization from the Persian Gulf Strait Authority, that is PGSA. So this is, you can see, the Strait of Hormuz, and but the Iranian control over the Strait of Hormuz. This is the map I'm showing to you of the Strait of Hormuz, which Iranian are basically controlling this area, and they are asking and they are allowing only those tankers to pass through after demanding the fee of passage. This is the map of the Strait of Hormuz, and which Iran has released, and this is under the control of now Iran. Let's begin with some more important news, and as we said that we'll discuss some news regarding the update of what is actually happening. There is let's discuss the most important news first, which is basically the uproar that has been caused in the Senate of US when Senator Mark Kelly said that it would take years to replenish basically it would take years to replenish the long-range munitions, that caused an uproar in the Senate and the US, and drawing an aggressive investigation from the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth regarding the disclosure of the sensitive data. And what was that sensitive data? That was that sensitive data that is about that these long range missiles munitions would take years to replenish. And let's discuss. So what was he talking about? The long range missiles. There are interceptor systems and SM3, THAAD, and Patriot. Um, $28 million is the cost of unit cost of SM3, $15 million the unit cost of THAAD, and in Patriot causes $4 million per unit cost. Estimated stockpile before the war. Let me tell you about that. US had 410 SM3s, and out of which only 130 are possibly left. Now thought there were 360 and 190 are left, and also Patriot 2330 were there and 1060 are left. So this was the sensitive data that was basically discussed, and this caused an uproar, and due to which this uproar, this sensitive data, Pete Hex said was clearly not happy with it, and due to which now he has launched an aggressive inquiry into this matter. The problem here is now during the height of the escalation, Iran and its regional proxies launched saturation attacks designed specifically to force Israel to bleed through its expensive receptors. Despite active productions lines running 24/7 to force Israel to bleed through its expensive receptor. Despite active production lines running 24/7 inside Israel, the sheer volume of arrivals strained local stockpiles to the breaking point. To prevent a catastrophic breach of Israeli airspace, the US was forced to reposition several of its own finite THAAD batteries and Patriot systems directly to the Middle East, even pulling a critical THAAD battery out of South Korea. This burn shifting successfully shielded Israel but transferred the immediate inventory risk directly onto the US military. Also, there was a global ripple effect as well, due to this condition, and that was in May. Global allies who rely on American defense exports are now trapped in a massive logjam. Countries like Japan, Taiwan, Ukraine, and various Gulf states seeking Patriot replacements are finding out that for the next several years there are not enough missiles to go around. Every single available round coming off assembly lines is legally being diverted to replenish US and Israeli empty magazine racks. Let's now discuss the dual blockade, and before moving on to that, this is the video when Iran seized an oil tanker carrying 4.5 million barrels of oil for violating the newly imposed regulations in the Strait of Hormuz, and this is the visuals which I am showing to you regarding that operation. And let's see if there are some comments we have. Will there be ceasefire or again between US and Iran? And 70% of the people say that there will be again war, and 30% of the people think that there would be a ceasefire. Now discussing simultaneously Unlike historical standalone crisis, this is a two-sided squeeze involving both Western and Iranian aligned forces. Following the initial US-led airstrikes in February, the IRGC declared the Strait of Hormuz closed. President Trump retaliated by ordering strict U.S. Navy counter blockade on all ships entering or exiting Iranian ports. The result was a ghost town. Commercial vessels transits have plummeted by 95%. Marine insurance has been entirely cancelled for the region, leaving more than 1,500 vessels and 22,000 mariners stranded or forced into arduous 15-day detour around Africa's Cape of Good Hope. And what is the state of Bab al-Mandab and the bottleneck? To prevent the West from simply bypassing Hormuz via Red Sea pipelines, Iran has pushed its Houthi allies in Yemen to basically clamp down on the Bab al-Mandab Strait. Operating out of coastal hidden positions, the Houthis utilize anti-ship ballistic missiles, explosive sea drones, and low-cost loitering munitions to target any commercial traffic attempting to access the Suez Canal. With that, together these two straits control over one-third of the global seaborne oil and liquefied natural gas. With the both choked off, Qatar's energy was forced to declare force majeure on LNG shipments, drastically spiking global energy costs and threatening fertilizers supply chain that underpin global agriculture. The narrow shallow of the Bab al-Mandab are the primary data highway linking Europe to Asia. Approximately 17 to 20% of all global internet traffic travels through a handful of cable resting on the Red Sea floor. This is what happened in Lebanon, and the issue of the Lebanon. Let's discuss that. The Hezbollah front and the Lebanon. While the and before that, moving to this Lebanon, you see the visuals courtesy Al Jazeera News and what has happened in Lebanon. Let's read your comments now if we have some comments, and now move towards you see the visuals of what has happened in Lebanon. And while the Houthis handle the maritime choke, Hezbollah serves as the land-based support, anchoring the ring, anchoring and supporting the IRGC against the Western and Israeli military assets. Hezbollah has sustained a grueling war of attrition along Israel's northern border, displacing hundreds of thousands of civilians. Even though concurrent Israeli operations have killed nearly 1,900 Hezbollah's fighters, the group underground tunnel networks in southern Lebanon remains largely defensible. Also, with that, Hezbollah's primary objective is tactical diversion by launching dense low altitude suicide drone swarms alongside the Katyusha rockets. They force Israel to continuously deplete its hyper expensive scarce Iron Dome and David Sling interceptors, widening the Western Winchester window. With that, we move on to another important topic. It is about whether the blockade would be successful or not. And this is the blockade of. You can see the visuals of the blockade of Iran by US. This is the US forces doing blockade of Iran. Let me read some comments. If I can read your comments and answer the comments. There are basically 15 votes. The question and the poll, please do answer that poll as well. 15 votes we have up till now. 17 minutes have passed to this live stream, and the question was, will there be ceasefire or will we see again the war between US and Iran? We'll see war again. 73% of the people say that, and ceasefire. 27% of the people say that there will be ceasefire, and these are the visuals where you can see the blockade of Iran by US. Now, discussing whether the blockade is 100% success or not. Purely theoretically, 100% successful total blockade of both waterways where literally zero energy or cargo passes through would trigger a global economic unraveling without modern precedent. Um, Crude oil clears at 150 to $200 per barrel. Uh, Global shipping containers capacity drops by 25% due to massive Cape of Good Hope backlogs, and Middle Eastern urea and gas-based fertilizers exports stop instantly. So, absolute 100% blockade is highly unsustainable because it functions as a geopolitical suicide pact. It would completely choke off oil revenue to Iraq, Kuwait, and UAE while starving China of the energy it needs to survive on. Now, discussing some topics regarding the internet. And the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz would lead to the internet. The Iranians have threatened that if the blockade continues, then they would basically cut off the internet supply to the world if the US blockade continues. And perhaps the most alarming asymmetric escalation in the looming threat to submarine fiber optic cables due to this blockade. Uh, with that, the narrow shallow of the al-Mandab are the primary data highway linking Europe to Asia. Approximately 17% to 20% of all global internet traffic travels through handful of cables resting on the Red Sea floor. Intelligence briefs indicate that while the Houthis lack advanced deep sea submarines, they have successfully disrupted infrastructure using more rudimentary means. That is, the means are dragging anchors, intentionally dragging heavy ship anchors across the known cable paths, and scuba improvised charges utilizing specialized diving teams or dropping weighted depth charges into shallow bottleneck corridors. And also the consequences of it would be a successful multi-cable severing wouldn't just slow down residential internet. It would basically it would disrupt the international banking and transactions, fracture global cloud server synchronization, and cause catastrophic data routing failures across European and Asian financial hubs. So this would be basically approximately 17 to 20% of all global internet traffic would be affected if Iran does this and go ahead with what it threatens US of. because US has said that they would be bombing again Iran. And this is the visuals of the Gerald Fole, the crew members returning home after Gerald Fole members returning home after 1 year, and they were active in Iran, uh, fighting against Iran. And the USS Gerald Fole members. There is one more topic left from today's live stream, and that is basically um, the one important that is left to discuss is about um, what would be the strategic analysis of what is happening, and what would it impact, how would it impact the global economic realities and the geopolitical blocks, including Russia and China. What would be the implications of that? Um, because Iran military analysts emphasize that while US and Israel achieved immediate tactical superiority by wiping out Iran's formal command and infrastructure, conventional victory is far from guaranteed. Um, because Iran features incredibly rugged mountainous geography and a population of 90 million, a conventional ground invasion is highly unlikely. Donald Trump remains highly averse to forever ground wars. Consequently, Iran's strategic goal is to drag the coalition into a protracted, exhausting war of attrition that bleeds Western missile inventories and spikes domestic fuel prices to politically intolerable levels. The coming days will determine whether the ceasefire collapses entirely into a second wave of targeted strikes, or if heavily coerced or multilateral treaty can be signed between both of the parties. Before leaving, let's discuss about the casualties which Iran has suffered, and the total amount of the total number of the people which Iran has suffered. Um, Over 6,000 military personnel killed in of Iran, and 155 naval vessels damaged or destroyed, with 190 ballistic missile launchers have been neutralized. Hezbollah has lost almost 1,900 fighters because the centralized political leadership was decimated early on of IRGC. Geopolitical future analysis indicate that IRGC is largely operating under localized, decentralized command structures, executing asymmetric retaliatory strikes without direct political oversight from Iran's government. The IRGC has turned Tehran into a training camp and conducting public weapons demonstrations where citizens, including young boys and elderly men, are taught to handle the assault rifles and the weapons in case of any ground invasion by Israel, US and Israel. And the Jan Fida movement, basically Jan Fida is means the people who can sacrifice their lives for the country. The state media of Iran has heavily promoted an online mobilization campaign for the Jan Fida. Iranian authorities claim over 30 million people have signed up, though minors. This is when Iran just seized a tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has also fired a drone to the tanker in the Strait of Hormuz as well, and damaging the ship and taking it into its Strait of Hormuz has created a double blockade that international energy agencies call the largest supply disruption in global oil history. The choke point remains highly contested, with Western forces attempting to keep lanes open while suffering asymmetric drone strikes from Iranian coastal cells. With that, we would be basically ending our live stream here, and we have received 19 votes. 19 votes we have received. Um, in these 19 votes, the question was, will there be ceasefire or war again between US and Iran because the tensions are growing again? 79% of the people think that there would be war again, and 21% of the people think that there would be ceasefire. We'll request you to please follow the channel and subscribe and like the channel, and do comment and like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back with more news once we have more news, and you can comment on what topic you want our next video be, and we'll also keep you updated on this war situation, which is basically now again escalating. And the point is now that the war is escalating, and we might see the prices of oil again going up. Their countries, Donald Trump has previously stated that he would be bombing again Iran, but on the request of Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and UAE, he has held back his order for strikes on Iran. Iran responded fiercely and said that if again strikes happen, then they would basically cut the internet cables, depriving the big tech giants from the internet. So this is the situation now, and with that we'll wrap up our transmission.